Welcome back, everyone, with the 5:30 update on now Tropical Storm Idalia. Now, while Idalia has lost the designation of a hurricane, it is no less risky for the people in the path of this system, and that may come across as counterintuitive, so let me explain it. If we start first with the radar, this is the current radar. The center of circulation is centered down here just to the southwest of Savannah, moving off towards the northeast like this. Look at this very heavy shield of rain that has developed. This is not like typical rain. This is very heavy rainfall, capable of producing flooding, and it has had a history of producing significant flooding down here over southern Georgia throughout the day, and it's starting to see, you can see the flood warnings now starting to move into South Carolina as well. The other thing you can see here is these little tornado warnings starting to pop up as these bands rotate out in front of it. The bottom line is not a good night to be driving about here in eastern half of South Carolina, and soon in the next couple hours as it moves into southeastern North Carolina. Again, just because it doesn't have the designation of a hurricane, these flooding rains are often one of the deadliest components of a hurricane, and people really take it for granted just because it doesn't have that title anymore. So let's switch over here to the forecast and walk you through the areas that could be impacted by this. Now, we've shown this graphic for several days now, this flood risk graphic with this bright red on here, and this is really an opportunity to help you understand what this graphic means. Within this red area, if you see these sort of, and Steve, you can zoom in a little bit, these black areas here are all current flood warnings, meaning where flooding is occurring or imminent. And look how well encased they are in this red area. This is a very good product to help you understand flood risk. So we're not just looking at the cone. In fact, I'm not even showing it in this presentation to help you focus on the flood risk, which is materializing as we make this video. You can see here it extends from southeastern Georgia through the eastern half of South Carolina. That includes Columbia and Myrtle Beach, and then up into southeastern North Carolina. That is Wilmington and Jacksonville. These rains are going to be moving into that area in the next couple of hours. In terms of how much rain, let's turn on how much rain we're going to get here. This will be the peak rainfall totals, or how much rain could occur over the duration of the event. And you can see this narrow swath of very significant rainfall. The orange areas in here are 6 to 10 inches of rain, and it's going to come down quick. Okay, so it's going to come down really quick, and that's why the flood risk is high. Again, Jacksonville, Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, you're on high alert. The other thing that's going to contribute to the flood risk here, let me show you the storm surge forecast. Now, we're not going to see storm surges here like we saw in Florida, but they're still just as impactful, and let me explain. So as the winds come around like this and wrap around, they're shoving the storm surge up against the coastline and piling it up, especially in places like lower Pamlico, Neuse River, 2 to 4 feet. Now, why is this important? Why is this important? Focus back on that same area again, and I'm going to turn the rainfall back on. And you can see that's sort of the same area where all that rain is falling. So the rain is trying to run into the ocean, and the ocean's piling back up the river, and those two collide and really make for a potent flood risk, and so you can start to see how that works. I'm going to go back and turn on the peak storm surge one more time, because we didn't talk about the potential for some coastal flooding down here in Charleston area. So from Savannah northward through Charleston, your high tide's coming up here, so you've got some potential for coastal flooding as well. Not a good night to be moving around there as well, because remember, that's a heavy rain too. So again, I want to stress that just because it's no longer a hurricane doesn't mean it's any less threatening or risky for these areas here, especially eastern South Carolina and southeastern North Carolina. Don't be out and about. Don't be driving through flooded roads, especially as the sun comes down. You won't be able to see the roads flooded. So let's get wherever you need to be for the evening and stay there. Wait till tomorrow to venture out. I know curiosity, you want to see what's going on, but this is a good night to just stay inside. We will be back tomorrow with more updates as needed, and as always, you can get the latest information from hurricanes.gov.